everyone. Welcome back to Sunday Scaries at Grandma's. My name is Erica Gambatese.
Hi, my name is Sharon Gambatese.
Today we are back and we are talking about religion. Just to start out, we know that religion is a super controversial topic. We know that a lot of people have their own opinions on religion, and we respect everyone's beliefs and everyone's opinions, and these are just our opinions on it.
Okay, that's right.
And a reason why I wanted to do religion, I think that it is a very, very interesting topic. I think that religion is just really fascinating, and I think that it just can really show how everyone grew up and things like that. But yeah, I just find religion very interesting. My favorite class in college was a world religion course.
I didn't know that, really?
Yeah, I talked about that a little bit on the mental health episode about religion.
Yeah, we did. That's
Right.
right.
Yeah, I just find it very interesting, all the different religions, how really similar they all are and how they impact each other and how I don't know. I think it's just interesting how people don't realize that so many religions are very similar to each other, yet people really just judge each other for following certain religions,
Yes.
even though a lot of religions are very close to each other. So that was one thing. And I also just think that religion is one of those things where it kind of is just a moral compass type of thing. I think that it teaches everyone morals, which is a good thing. I think that it makes sure that everyone is a good person. Well, I guess it doesn't make sure that everyone's a good person because there's a lot of bad religious people out there.
But no, there's a lot of good ones,
yeah,
too.
I think that it helps guide people to be
Better
to
person.
be a better person. And I also think that it just gives people hope. I think that it gives people, I don't know, just a sense of security. So I understand definitely all the positives to religion. But with that being said, I just wanted to kind of talk about how it's changed over the years. And obviously, I think it's pretty well known that religion is declining. So, Mimi,
Yes.
why do you think that religion has maybe declined within the past few years, maybe since you were my age compared to now?
I don't know. When I was your age, well, when I was young, I had to go to church. I
Right.
went to Catholic school. I had to go to church every Friday, and they forced you to do it. No one really wanted to go, but you had to go.
Right.
And now, you have a choice whether you want to go. I used to go to church all the time, and now I just don't. I probably should go back, but I wasn't getting anything out of it at all.
Right. I mean, even when I was growing up, though, I had to go to church.
I,
And I
I,
mean, I was raised Catholic and I got my first communion. I got my confirmation. You were my confirmation
I
sponsor.
was.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
But so I had to do all that, but I know it was forced. Like I did not want to do it. I really I guess me personally, like growing up, I always questioned it a lot. I really like didn't. I had a really hard time believing it, and I remember like really wanting to believe it, but just not being able to type of thing. So that's just my experience with it. I know that like for me, it was definitely not something that I like wanted to do necessarily. I remember my mom telling me though that I had to get confirmed in case I ever wanted to marry a Catholic.
Yes.
So she said that in case you ever want to marry a Catholic, you might as well just get confirmed now. And I was like, okay. But
I mean, some of these things are crazy.
yes, yeah, some of the rules or whatever they're called are just a little bit ridiculous to me. But
Me too.
so I think that, and it definitely differs for each religion, even though they are super similar. But I think that there's a lot of things that I just fundamentally like disagree with, but that's just my opinion. And I also think that everyone has the right to their own opinion. Just saying that again, because I know that there's probably a lot of people out there who, I mean, I know people who are family, like people who are close, that if they were to hear that I wasn't religious, they would be angry at me, which I think is wrong. So, disclaiming with that. Anyways,
I think I think people that have a strong religious view have a stronger family connection.
yeah, so I agree with that. I think that religion is something for people to bond over, and I think that it's something for people to like agree with, in a family. So I think that if a family of however many, if they all like very strongly follow religion, I think it does make a stronger
It
family.
does.
But because I mean, one, a lot of well, most religions in America are like a branch of Christianity. And we know in Christianity, like divorce is frowned upon. So I mean, that's one reason. I think that like marriages maybe like last longer if you're Christian because it's considered a sin to get divorced. But yeah, I don't know. I do think that like families who are like heavily practice religion together, it's a bonding experience. It's something to
Sure.
do, going to church together, getting close in that way, like sharing the same morals and just like following those all in one household. I can see how that is very like, you know, good energy maybe in one house. So I definitely agree with that. But just from what I was saying, I just know that we have like a lot of family members and like maybe family friends and stuff where I don't know. Maybe people won't talk to me anymore if they find out that I'm
Why?
not religious. Well, because
Well,
to
you
them,
are. I mean, you don't go to church, is what you don't do.
right.
So, but you still, in your mind, could be like believe in God and all that.
I
So,
don't. So,
what?
but yeah. Well, I'm just saying, I know that there's a lot of people who I am kind of close with that if I were to say that, like, they would just be all worried about me and tell me that I'm going to hell, but I don't believe in hell, so I'm okay, you know?
But you believe in God. You have, don't you believe there's a supreme being somewhere?
I'm not sure. I would like to believe so. Like, personally, I think I tried very, very hard to be Christian. Like, I think that when I was young, I was like, I need to believe in this, blah, blah, blah. Like, I have to. It would make me feel better if I did. Because, I mean, one thing that I'm very afraid of is death.
Well, everybody is.
No, not Christians. Not a lot of Christians are.
Well,
But I mean, for me, I'm just like, I'm terrified to death, things like that. I always really wanted to believe in a religion. Like, I always really wanted that comfort. I wanted to, like, kind of have, like, a roadmap on, like, how to be a better person, I guess. But I just always had a very, very hard time believing it. I think that like from like a younger age too, like I'm like always been like a scientist and questioned things and I believe in science very much. So for me it's just hard. I think it contradicts science a lot and I definitely believe in science. Like I believe in proven things. And so for me, and I also think that there's just a lot of problems with like the Catholic Church and a lot of things with that. So I personally am not Catholic and I don't follow it anymore.
well, I'm Catholic, but I don't follow it anymore because when I was going to church, I was getting not one thing out of it at all. Not one thing. And
I agree. I mean, for me personally, I remember being forced to go to church and just trying. I remember trying to like it and being like, okay, Erica, like you like music, you
yeah, you
like
could sing.
stories.
Yeah.
But then I would go and I would just be like so bored and I wouldn't understand any of the stories, things like that. They just didn't make sense to me. And I would be like, well, how is this a thing? Like, I believe in like evolution. So I was like, well, that doesn't make sense to me, everything like that. So that's just my personal experience with it. I don't want anyone to tell me that I'm wrong for it.
You're not wrong. It's
Right.
your, that's how you feel. And everybody is entitled to
Yeah,
their
but
feelings.
people will. So but anyways, from a number point,
Okay.
so that we can really just grasp, how it has changed over the years. I found some stats online that I
Okay.
think are really interesting. So we're really just looking at America and religion because I think it would be very complex in one episode to look at the entire world religion. But in the United States from 2007 to 2021, so it's only like a 10-year difference ish, Christianity fell from 78% of the population to 63%. And then also those who don't affiliate with religion grew from 16% to 29%. And then other religions like Judaism and Islam, they grew from 5% to 6%. So they kind of stayed the same. Anyways, what I find interesting though is that Christianity fell from 78% to 63% because that's a lot of people that it fell from. And then also what I find interesting is that those who don't affiliate with a specific religion grew from 16% to 29%. So those who like don't really follow a religion or affiliate with one almost doubled in between 2007 and
Was that,
2021.
that's really amazing.
Right. And I mean that's very recent too. So I don't know necessarily why it might be, in the past 10 years like so much has changed in that viewpoint. I mean, from me and like from things that I notice, I think that science has changed a lot, in the past 20 years. I mean, science is always changing,
Oh,
but
always, yeah.
I do think that a lot of like science itself has changed in the past 10 years that can maybe like pull people away, but I don't know, do you have any viewpoints as to why maybe it's changed so much just since 2007?
Well, number one, it changed this last 2 years because of the COVID.
Right. How do you
No,
think it might have changed because of COVID?
well, because no one wanted to go to church and be next to each other. So,
See, I find that kind of funny because from what I saw during COVID, I saw so many people like I mean maybe like on Facebook and stuff
yeah.
that wanted to go to church even though
Oh, a lot
even
of
because
people
of the
did.
pandemic and I saw a lot of people who like thought that because they were in church like it was impossible for them to get COVID because
Oh,
they were protected by the Lord and
I
things
don't
like
think
that.
so. But I know a
So,
lot of people watch TV, the
yeah,
Catholic Mass on TV instead of going to church because they were afraid. And I know a lot of people were afraid.
right. Yeah, and I think that COVID in general has divided a lot of people a lot because I think it really showed how people really are. I think like COVID has really showed like people's viewpoints like kind of in ways that you wouldn't have noticed before, just based off of how people think how everything's being handled and things like that and people's opinions on it. So I think that honestly when it comes to religion and COVID, I think that people's religion was a little bit more evident, I guess, in the past few years. I think it was more noticeable, like what religion people followed and their beliefs and things like that, especially with politics too. So I think that a lot of people in the past few years just kind of generalized opinions together, like they've kind of grouped opinions together where it's like, oh, well, if you're a Christian, then you are an anti-vaxxer, an anti-masker type of thing. So I think that people who, believe in vaccinations and wear masks and like believe in that
That's
science,
science to
then
you.
they think that they like can't be Christian. Like it turns them away from Christianity type of thing. You know what I mean? Like if you affiliate Christianity with anti-science, which it is kind
Yeah.
of together, then and you believe in science, then you are turned off by Christianity because you affiliate those together. So I think that in the past few years, because like so much has been grouped together as far as religion and science and everything that's been happening and like how you should treat each other and things like that. I think that a lot of people have maybe like turned away from religion because they're like, well, I believe in science and I want to like protect other people and things like that. So I think that COVID has definitely really changed a lot with that. I also think that the past 10 years, social media has definitely grew. And I think that a lot of people are kind of talking about their experiences with religion on social media, which I think is interesting. Like people are talking about maybe bad experiences they had. Like I've seen a lot of bad experiences that they have like in the Mormon church, things like that. And I think that might be turning people away from religion.
Yeah, they do have different kind of laws there. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I
You went
think
to a Mormon wedding, right? You're
no, not me.
that wasn't you?
No, I
Wait, who got
didn't.
married Mormon? Who am I thinking
I
about?
have no idea. That was not me
It wasn't
though.
you.
But yeah, I
Oh, I know it was in Colorado. That's right.
oh
Okay,
yeah,
sorry about that.
not I. But yeah, I think that with social media, like a lot of people are kind of talking about it more and kind of bouncing off opinions with each other and things like that, and also arguing about things. So I definitely think that I can see how religion has changed a lot, and I also just think that I mean, even with a lot of laws that have been passed, I can't remember when same-sex marriage was like ruled legal federally. I can't remember what year that was.
It
But
wasn't
it
too
was
long ago.
right, it was relatively recent and I think that that and just like laws changing and stuff has also turned people away from religion because they were like I can't believe that people who are Christian like support making same-sex marriage illegal because that to them is wrong. So, I can also see how things like that have turned people away from religion too because
That's all judgmental stuff, all of it.
yeah, well, I mean, I think that when like religion somehow seeps into social issues and social law, like I think that that could definitely turn people away from religion if, if some people are saying, well, you can't get married because like it's against the Bible, I
You're
can
going to
definitely
go to hell.
right and shame people for getting married. I mean, that's one thing that definitely turned me away from religion because I think that that's wrong. Things like that.
Wait a
So,
minute, let me ask you something. Do you and your friends ever, probably not because you're going to be 24, right, this year?
mhm.
So do your friends ever talk about religion or like, they talk about God or anything ever?
um no, not really.
Not at all, right?
I mean, we kind of talked about like a lot of my close friends will talk about religion as like a whole and like our viewpoints on it. None of my like close friends are religious. So we'll kind of just talk about our opinions about religion, how we like think it's like, it's a good thing for people. If that's what you want to believe, like go ahead for it. But I guess a lot of my close friends like we don't follow anything, things like that. Um, but it's not something like I don't have any friends that I would be like, let's go to church together or anything
Oh,
like
okay.
that. So definitely nothing like
Well, we
that.
used to go to church together when you were younger, and we never missed. And but then all of a sudden, it was just too much.
Right. Yeah, and I mean I think one thing though that I definitely want to touch on too is like the difference between our age groups also because for me I think that a lot of people my age
Yes.
are a lot less religious than people your
Oh,
age.
for sure. Oh, I agree with that 100,
Right.
100%.
Yeah, and I mean I grabbed a quick stat too about that and it was that people who are aged 18 to 29, so my age bracket, 36% of that age group is unaffiliated with religion, whereas only 14% of people in your age group are unaffiliated with religion.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
about like, it's less than half. So half of a difference. So maybe like, why do you think, people your age are more like heavily focused on religion and affiliated with religion compared to people my age?
Well, because I think, we're getting older and we fear death and we make sure that we believe in something. And
Yeah.
I mean, I pray every night.
Yeah, I think that people your age, I definitely think that that's a factor that there's nearing death, I guess. And just like, want
Yeah, I
but
don't
I
want to do anything wrong. I want to see the pearly gates, which are probably not there.
yeah, well, but I also think it's also just like something to do with like how you were raised and just thinking,
I was made to go to church. I didn't want to. I was made. And then
right.
we used to sneak and not go.
Yeah. And I mean there's a lot of people your age who are also made to go to church and it also made them very religious,
Yes,
like to
I
this
have a
day.
couple friends that are very religious, very, very good people.
Right.
And yeah, and a lot of times when I have people that get sick or something, or get not get sick or something, when they get ill, I call somebody and we light a candle and we pray together over it
Right.
for healing. So I don't
Yeah.
mind that part.
Well, yeah, I definitely think that it can be like a bonding experience. I think that it can also give people like I said before, a sense of security.
Yes,
Um, and I definitely think it can like, help people follow like a righteous path, that they feel comfortable with, things like that. Um, but on the other side of it, I don't know. I personally just feel like there is when your religious beliefs just kind of like persecute another group of people, or if they just make another group of people feel bad about themselves, or it also gets to a point where like if you believe in a certain religion and you make someone feel bad for not believing in the same religion as you, I think it's just dangerous and it's cruel and it's mean.
it is.
And I mean, I
I
don't know.
just found out you can really have your own thoughts. Absolutely. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it took me a long time because I found my voice, and now I found my voice. I can think how I want to.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that, and that's another thing. I think that everyone should have like the right to their own thoughts and their own opinions. And I mean, as long as those thoughts and opinions don't like hurt
But
someone's feelings,
yeah, right.
then that's up to you. And I think that you can believe in like whatever you want to believe in and things like that. But I don't know, it just sad. And I feel like there's so many misconceptions about so many different religions. And that's one of my favorite things from my world religion class that I took is just learning about all the misconceptions that people have. I mean, I literally wrote an essay about it
Oh, you
Remember?
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
I
sophomore
did.
year, I wrote an essay
Yeah.
about like misconceptions of Islamic dress, really, and how most people like when they see a man with a turban on, they think that that man's Muslim, but most men in turbans are actually part of like Sikhism.
A second.
Yeah, so I mean that's just a huge misconception. Things like that. People think that people who follow like paganism are witches, which is not true. And it's a lot of things like that and that just really opened my eyes, I think, to a lot of things and I think that people just need to be more open-minded and I am like open-minded about everyone's religion and what they want to follow, but that's just one thing where I think that you really just have to learn about everyone else's.
Wait, let's get back to the pagans. Who are the pagans?
It's just it's a type of religion. Like, well, people associate pagans with like the devil and witches, but it's not. Like they follow like natural practices.
I mean, I heard that a long time. I mean, there were pagans.
I mean, people will like say things like they talk about like the word like pagan as like a derogatory thing because I mean it's like a religion that's been like persecuted in the past, but if people really like followed it, and it's the same thing with Islam. I mean, there's been so many negative connotations surrounding Islam in the past 20 years, obviously because 9/11 definitely sparked that in America. But I
Yes.
mean even before 9/11 there's been so many negative connotations surrounding Islam, but if you actually were to read like their readings and actually go into it, then you would realize that the true like readings of Islam, like in the Quran, like it's not what people generalize it as in America now. Like they're just associated with violence, they're associated with women suppression, they're associated with evil, terrorism in America, and that's not true. I mean, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity all stem from the same branch, and they were all very, very similar. So, if you are Christian and you are mean to someone because they are Islam, then you are kind of a hypocrite.
Yeah, sort of.
So, so yeah, I mean, but that's just one thing about religion. I really think that if you are going to talk badly about someone else's religion, you have to do research on it first. And I think that you have to really just be aware of other people's beliefs before you open your mouth because, I mean, it's important to understand what everyone believes in, or else you yourself are going to be judgmental and just say the wrong things. So things like that. Anyways, going back on track.
Okay.
I guess going back to just religion in America and why we think it's changed so much over the past few years. I mean, really in the past 20 years, I think is when we've definitely seen like a larger shift um in religion and like people just turning into like being just, unaffiliated with any religion. One thing that I wanted to touch on was religion and government. And I think that that is a big topic. Basically, if people think that religion should be involved in government, if we think that religious words like God should still be used, like in the I almost said in the commandments, in the Constitution,
In the commandments.
in the Constitution, things like that, like in the Pledge of Allegiance too. So yeah, I think that people of your generation who are more religious think that religion should still be a part of government.
Yeah, I think I mean, I'm not offended by that at all. A lot of people are, and I don't know why, but that's
Well,
their opinion.
I think that maybe like you might not be offended because like you are a part of that
Part of it,
religion.
yes.
But for people, I mean, America though, as we know, is made of so many different people. So if we're going to incorporate something into our law, like shouldn't it be respectful of everyone who lives in America?
Well, you don't like that Pledge of Allegiance with the God in it?
I don't I think it's dated and I just I think
Dated. Okay.
I mean, I personally think that
So you think it should be gone?
well, I think that everyone who lives in America should feel included in everything that has to do with America. Which is why I mean people get so mad when people like have a problem with certain parts of America and they're like, "Oh, just leave." But it's like, well, maybe you should make them feel more included in America. So, and one thing that I do find is interesting is that a lot of people who are strongly religious think that once religion is taken out of law and taken out of government, that that whole society will collapse, which is actually like not true because a lot of statistics show that countries that are actually less religious have lower murder rates and
Is
less
that right?
corruption. Yes.
Oh, I really didn't know that.
Well, I mean, I think that it's just one of those things that cause a lot of divide where it shouldn't.
Well, you have
And
to teach me some of these
right. Well,
things.
I mean, I mean, I don't have a lot to teach. I'm just saying,
Well, I'm
like,
just saying you do. I mean, you definitely have different viewpoints than I had growing up, for sure. I mean,
yeah. And I mean, I think that the whole thing that really shifted my viewpoints was I took a class for it was maybe 4 months of my time, 2 times a week, that actually taught me about every other religion. Well, not every, because it's impossible to teach you about every other religion, but it taught me about most other religions in the entire world and how similar they are and how easily judged they are, how things get twisted so easily about them. And I mean, that really changed my viewpoint
this one class changed your whole viewpoint.
about so many things because I mean, if you have so many like predisposed judgments to something like Islam because of how like, you know, America has like shoved that down your head
Oh,
since I
for
was
sure.
born in 1998 to now, then so you have so many different misconceptions about that and then you take a class saying that basically everything that you ever like was shown is false,
False.
then you wonder, well, how many other things that I was always shown is false and like not true, and then it opens your mind to a lot of things where it's like, well, maybe like, you know, this isn't true and this, and I mean, I think that we were all raised like in, well, at least I was raised in a Christian world. And like I went not Catholic school, but I went to whatever that was called.
Catechism.
Well, I went to that PSR like
Yeah.
after school.
Oh,
And I mean, that's just how I was like raised and like how I was like taught. And I think that most people in America are raised that way and they're taught Christianity and things like that. So they're just like made to believe that other religions are wrong, which just leads to judgments about other religions. But I mean, I think that other religions are just so similar and they all lead to like the same
same
truth at
path.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I mean, it really opened my mind and made me realize, well, how many other things can I, you know, possibly be wrong about if I was wrong about this?
I
And then
see
it made
what
me just like question everything, you know, that I was taught in the first place, which is why I'm just saying like I really think like a lot of people who go to college are like they dread those classes, you know, that you have to take that
I'm
aren't part of your
sure.
major. Like people are like, "Oh, I'm a
That,
business major. Like why do I have to take world religion?" And I mean, I think that this is a big reason why because if you're taught something like that, like it can actually change your mind. It can make you so much less judgmental like to your neighbor, and I don't know. I find it like really eye-opening, and that's why I think it's important. I think it would make everyone just more like inclusive of each other if everyone just took a world religion class and like
un,
you know, like just if everyone just like in sociology or something like that, where it just taught you about like everyone who you live around and actually got to understand it, I think it would just make people a lot more nicer to each other and feel a lot more like united compared to how we all feel now.
I feel united towards all of my, I mean, friends I have are all different religions. I feel very united with them.
Yeah, but I think if you actually like got to understand other people's religions and like even practiced it, and I think that my experience like with my world religion class is a little bit different because my professor was so awesome and she would practice whatever religion she was teaching that week like for her entire week, like even in her personal
Oh,
life.
wow.
Like so if like one week she was teaching like Sikhism, like she would, I forget what it is, but I know that Sikhs carry like 5 things on them at all times. One
I,
of them is a knife, I know.
good.
But like they have like these 5 things and I forget what they are. But she would do that for like the entire week. She would eat their diets. She would pray the way that they pray. Like every single week she would do that to like make our learning experience like better and to help us better understand
Stand,
it.
yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that was great.
Right, yeah. So I mean just like immersing yourself in other people's religions. I mean, to some people it's so important to them. Like I have friends who are Muslim and like they will pray at the appropriate time that they have to pray. And I mean, that's important. That's a value to them.
Right.
So I mean, to like learn other people's values, people that you're close to learn their values, to even practice their values, maybe that's just, I could see how that would just make you so much, not like practice them. Like, I'm not saying convert to other people's religion to better understand them, but I'm just saying even like taking a week, a year to just practice something. I remember I tried to do Ramadan one year and it was so hard. Like, and it makes you like respect it too. Do you know what Ramadan is?
No, I don't. I mean, what is it?
It's a part of Islam, and I hope I get this like 100% correctly, but they can't eat from sunrise to sunset. You can only eat when it's dark out, and you eat like with your family. Like you wake up like very early, like at like 5 a.m. maybe. I don't know when the sun rises. It's like in the beginning of summer, and you eat like a big meal with them, and then you go on with your day, and then you can't eat until the sun sets. You can't drink water either, and it's like Lent to Catholics. Just
That,
giving up something to show like your appreciation type of thing.
you don't eat all day?
No, it's just something that I mean, same thing with Lent. You give up something for Lent for months.
Yes, that's true.
You can't eat fish on Friday, or
No,
you can't eat chicken on Fridays. Just random things like
I
that.
know you can't eat chicken on Friday, so that's different now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny too how it changes like over and over. I mean, wasn't it like first like you can't eat any meat or something, and then
On Wednesdays, Ash Wednesdays, you couldn't eat meat, and then every Friday, no meat.
oh, I thought it was just like not chicken specifically or something like
No,
that.
no meat.
Yeah, and everyone eats fish.
Yeah, everyone would eat fish. That's when the big fish fries came in. So everybody had fish fries.
Yeah, and then that's just a money making,
Exactly.
which is funny, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I think that overall, like just looking at how everything has like changed over like the past few years, I think that I don't know. I think maybe people in my generation and I guess like a lot of people might think that this is wrong that we do this, but I think we maybe just question things more and I think maybe we kind of have more of an open discussion about things, you know? And I think
Well,
that's because of social media. I think that because of social media, like people in my generation are kind of having like an open discussion with like the entire world now and we are talking about things that we've dealt with just out loud and there's a lot of things about social media that make you feel like not alone, you know? So I think whether that's maybe like finding someone with the same religion as you or kind of just like questioning a religion together, it's kind of more of just an open discussion with my generation. And I think that there's just more stuff that's coming out every day and everything's coming out a lot more faster now that
a lot more.
that
I
it
don't.
kind of just makes you question a lot more things, I guess.
Yes, I mean I'm questioning things all the time. I mean, but I was. They were all stories that I learned that I believed it because I was little, and there's Adam and Eve and blah blah blah. And then the Muslims, I'm sure, when they were little, they believed in blah 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 blah, and then so on and so forth with every religion.
Right. I mean, and one thing that I always thought was like interesting was, and I think this kind of like came up in my head when I took that religion class, is that I think growing up, I remember always like making fun of Greek mythology, you know?
Really?
Not like making fun of it, but just being like, oh, it's so crazy that people actually believe this stuff, that there is a goddess for spring and she's the one that like starts spring and things like that. I always just remember thinking it was like funny that people can actually believe in these stories. But like when you look at it as a whole, a lot of religions are just
Stories.
stories that were kind of put together to really help people like understand the unknown, which is I think that's obviously the whole reason why religion came about in the first place was to understand the unknown and,
No one
to
knows the
be a good
unknown.
person.
To be, yeah,
Right. But now I think that lately a lot more has like come out, like about evolution and things like that. So now there's a lot of questions about the original stories like in the Old Testament because they now contradict science. And I think that that is a really big thing that is kind of changing, that's shifting everything over,
I don't know. It's I don't know what to believe anymore. I just don't. But I know that there's a God.
Well, I hope I didn't confuse you.
No, it didn't confuse me. I mean, I think, like I said, you grew up one way, and that's what you did.
Right.
And you're generation, you're asking more questions. We just went along with it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. And I also think that it's an interesting perspective to see, like, well, I grew up with this, and that's what I believe. And you think that people are wrong because they grew up with something else, Like it's not, and
Well,
you
I
have to,
never thought anybody was wrong. I didn't really care what anybody else was.
right. Well, I mean, a lot of people will think like, oh, well, they're wrong for following Buddhism. Like the right way is Christianity, the right way is like
I suppose
Islam.
that.
It's whatever. That's what a lot of people think. Like they're like, well, this is the right way. And I mean, that's another thing that I always like felt really icky about when I was in like my Catholic school was like they talk so definitely about it, And I think that that's a part of the reason why people will be so judgmental of other people's religion is because it's the tense and everything that it's talked about. It's, well, Adam and Eve were the first people on earth and they did this and this is why this happened. And it's very like 100% definite. And it's like, the way that they talk to you, there's no arguing about it. So then you think, well, my religion is 100% the way and other religions are wrong. And I think that that creates a lot of judgments, and I think that you can learn a lot of lessons from other people's religion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I that's just one of the things that always kind of just made me like question religion because I was like, well, it doesn't make sense that if someone was born in Japan and they were brought up with Buddhism, that they're wrong just because they were born there.
Well, again, it's the same thing. You're born and you know what you hear, and that's
Exactly, yeah.
so. I mean, the Buddhists are born and they do Buddhism, and that's how it goes.
Right. Well, yeah, I was just saying that.
But you guys, you younger generation, question everything now.
Yeah.
You don't think
Well,
so?
you say that in a bad way.
No, I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying you just have more questions. You want to know more.
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to know more basically because more information is thrown at us on a daily basis. It's not like with your generation, I feel like you were born you were born and the information that you got was the information you got. Now it's like we have access to a lot more information. Like we are learning a lot of things to a lot of people across the world. We're learning a lot of info, and I think that it's definitely making us question everything, but I also just think that it's making maybe people understand each other better and things like that. So definitely I encourage religion 100%. I personally wish that like I could follow maybe one religion, but I really just I think all of them are so special and I think that taking pieces from every religion is beautiful and I think that would make like I think if you were to follow every religion, maybe not every religion, but most religions, I think that you would be like a very nice morally correct person because I think that they all have really great
something
points.
To give. Yeah.
I think that they also all have a lot of negative points to them. I think that everyone has a flaw. Every religion has a flaw to it.
Right.
I don't think that one is any more correct than another. I think that they're all like equally special and equally true and equally false at the same time. So I definitely don't discourage religion. Like I encourage it. I think it's like very special. But for me personally, I don't follow one in specific. But yeah, that's just my personal opinions on everything. And I find it very, very fascinating how it's changed so much over the generations. And I really wonder where it's going to be at in the future. But yeah.
Yeah, that who knows? Don't know.
So yeah, do you have any closing comments?
I still believe in God, and I know there's a supreme being out there somewhere. I do. I believe that. And I don't know if I believe the stories about going to hell and all that, but I'll find out one of these days, sooner or later.
Yeah. I mean, I just think, be a good person.
That's all.
And the rest will come.
Yes, I think.
In some way.
And I think we both are.
Good. But yeah, so thank you everyone for listening to another one of our rants. Like always, we appreciate everyone's feedback. You can rate us on Apple and Spotify. That would be nice. And also just let us know what you think. If you have any suggestions or anything like that, just reach out to us. And thank you again for coming back and listening.
We'll be back next week.
Yes, thank you.